Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Happy Hour podcast. Of course, my name's Ray, and I'm being joined by a very, very special person in my life, a very, very special man. That being my best friend in the whole entire world.
Special being the key word.
Chris. Chris, how you doing, man? I know, you took time away from your family, your busy schedule, you have a busy job to come hang out with me and tell everybody watching at home and everybody listening at home about all of our crazy stories, which we won't be able to cover.
Let me start by saying my family's probably happy that I left because my wife had guests over for tonight. So, hi, Uncle Norm. Hi, Lisa. I was asked to leave when my family came over because they don't like me.
Well, what was that you were telling me the story of before you left?
Well, hold on. First off, big shout out. I just found out today that my grandmother, Nan, big fan of the show.
Yes.
So, Nan,
yes, I did not know that.
Shout out to you.
Yes.
Love you.
And
you're my favorite because
your
like
grandparents are awesome. I don't know how many times I went to your grandparents and swam in that pool, and we have a very fun story of a story of us with your grandfather when he went to pick up, I think it was a dryer or a dishwasher or something later on.
Yeah.
But what we're gonna do real quick is we have to get into how me and you became friends. Like that's just the whole thing. Like it was, and we were talking, of course, make sure you subscribe to our Patreon. It's only $3 a month. We talked about a couple of stuff, some of the stuff that we did in high school, some of the teachers that we tortured when we were in high school. So that's our Patreon exclusive. Make sure you sign up, only $3 a month. Now, how was it when we actually became friends in high school? It was 8th grade. Like, what do you remember from no, it was
It was 8th grade.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, I lived in Dundalk for a little bit. Now I went to a different middle school. And my mom had moved, and when she moved, I had to move schools to Dundalk Middle is where we met at. I was a bit of an. Hold on, real quick. Let's phone call live on Facebook Live. I'm on Facebook Live. How are you? Shut up. All right. Sorry, it's my sister. Hi, Ashley.
The disadvantages of being live. So of course, everybody at home won't know, you just took a phone call live on air, which she's going to keep calling you, which your family's going to screw. And that's the thing. The family that Chris has, they're going to screw with him relentlessly beforehand. So, and actually we kind of jumped ship a little bit. Before you came here, what was it your family was doing to fuck with you?
Eating dinner and making fun of me.
Yeah. They brought food over, like, blah, 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 hey, they were going to make fun of you on Zoom.
Yeah, they thought I was doing this on Zoom. So they went over the house to fuck with me while I did this. Little do they know, I don't know how to use Zoom. So I was coming over here.
Yeah. So we're doing this live in person. So anyways, it was 8th grade. So you were always a smart ass.
Yeah,
you're probably the biggest fucking smart ass I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, I was fucking not even 5 foot yet, under 100 pounds. To this day, I still think Ray is the same size now as he was in the 8th grade. Motherfucker hasn't grown. Yeah, he was tall and fat.
Well, that's the thing. I think you're still equally as ugly now as you were in school, but you looked a little bit more like Slim Shady when we were in high school than what you do now. So, that's just the whole thing. So, and Chris is almost
we got 4 people watching. Yeah. So my aunt's watching. Hi, Lisa.
Hello, Lisa from Perry Hall Ghost Hunter. She is listening live. Watching us live. But anyways, 8th grade. So I'll let you set up how basically how I almost murdered you.
So basically, I was a new kid in school. I was a bit of an asshole, and I treated school like prison. So basically, what I was told was you find the biggest kid in there, and you show him who's boss, and everybody else will fall in line.
Yeah.
So of course, we had 2 real big kids in class. One kid named Chuck, the other happened to be Ray. Yeah. And I just happened to sit by Ray. So what ended up happening was
I hated your guts too. I was like, I hate that little fucking
he went to sit in his chair, and I took it and I hooked it with my foot and I moved it, and he fell.
I Yokozuna ass bombed onto the floor like hard as shit. So
and he fell, like gave me a dirty look and got back. Didn't say a fucking word. Got back up, sat in his chair, and continued on with everything. Teacher thought it was hilarious, Mr. Simpson. So as soon as we get out of class, Ray got out first. And as soon as I walk out the door, his fucking big ass hands grab me by my shirt right here, picks me up, and is like, "You little fucker, I'll beat your ass." And I'm like, if your big ass doesn't put me down, I'm gonna smack the shit out of you. And a dead face, serious looking at him. And again, nobody really messed with Ray in the 8th grade because again, he was the same size now that he was in the 8th grade. Yeah. So he puts me down and goes, "Nobody's ever really talked to me like that." Like they put their head down and walk away when I say something. Yeah. But he was also a dork and a nerd and stayed to himself.
And I had that long blonde. No,
that
like
didn't.
Kurt Hennig, like
that shit didn't. That didn't come till. No, that was it. Yeah. High school.
Oh yeah.
That's why you didn't get laid in high school. But he was like, "Oh, my name's Ray." I was like, "I'm Chris." It was like my first day here. I'm trying to make a good impression. He was like, "What are you doing after school?" I don't know. Probably going home and lighting shit on fire. That's what I did. I was like, "Well, it's Friday. My dad's ordering pizza. You would come over to the house." I'm like, I was like, "I don't know." He was like, "Well, you ever heard of DSL internet? I've got that at home." Is that the stuff you can download internet stuff on real fast? And for those of you that are younger and doesn't know, before you had broadband internet, you have DSL.
Yeah, and there was dial-up too, which was terrible.
Yeah, that's what my family couldn't afford then. So you could watch like internet videos on that, right?
Yeah.
That's when porn was starting to become a real big thing. So me thinking to myself, go to this kid's house and lock him out of his own room, watch a shit ton of porn. So went over there, started hanging out, eating pizza, and talking about wrestling.
Well, I remember with that is I was like, my dad lets me watch porn, and that's when our friendship really kind of blossomed. Was, hey, my dad lets me watch porn. And then it was the kind of thing of, you were like, well, I got to go there. And God forbid, God bless my father, rest in peace. I love him to death. But the shit that me and you and Bobby put him through is legendary. Like, I remember when there used to be videos, like when 2 Girls, 1 Cup first came out, like there were videos, you would find them and they'd be the most disgusting videos in the world.
One of my favorite things to do was I would troll the depths of the internet, which now like half that shit's probably like just common B-rated. You'll probably see it in a PG-13 Disney movie next week. But I would find the weirdest shit I could, load it on the computer, and then when his dad would go to get on later to do whatever he would do on there or whatever he would watch, that's what would pop up. So, and his dad worked nights, so we'd be upstairs playing video games 2:00 in the morning, and you hear, "Jesus Christ, God damn it, Ray, that little fucker was over here again." So like the first, 5 years Ray and I were friends, I don't think his dad even knew my name, just called me that little fucker.
And of course your family is just absolutely going crazy on the Facebook live feed, which is glorious. Like, I'm glancing at it and just kind of laughing to myself, as I look at the feed. But no, like, and also when you add into the equation of our friendship, we also had Bob.
Yeah.
And I once told you, and I tell you this all the time, is that you have a son, and your son a lot like you. And I was like, you do realize one day he's going to get a Ray, he's going to get a Chris, or he's going to get a Ray, he's going to get a Bobby, and he's going to get a Kenny.
Yeah.
And then you're going to know what it was like to be our parents with the shit that we did.
I hope not. Definitely trying to raise my son better than the way I was raised. That's been my big thing with him is, my job is to make sure that he's better than me, not like me. So far, the wife and I are doing a pretty good job. Mainly her. I take care of sports and stuff like that.
He's such a cool little dude too. Like, he's literally you in a smaller body. Like, every time I'm around him, he talks to me the way you talk to me.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just kind of like, okay, so, it's just the whole thing of, hey, this is what it is. But, we talked a little bit about high school on the Patreon. Now, basically, a lot of these stories are going to be once we got out of school. There weren't really a lot that happened when we were in school. We were actually pretty like laid back when we were in school.
Well, in school, I was a little bit more out there. I drank a little bit more, did some other things, and did a lot of running around in school where you were more like kind of laid back. You had just started getting into wrestling, so you spent your free time at the one wrestling, the wrestling school,
Pain Factory.
You training and working out there while I was out running the streets and doing whatever. And then we'd hang out on the weekends and sit up all night eating pizza and playing video games.
And of course, shout out to EWA. My EWA Hall of Fame award is right there for everybody watching us live, right there on my mantle. So shout out to EWA. And I really think what did it was Kenny's parties. Like we were drunks, we were alcoholics, but I think Kenny's parties are what did it. And if Kenny's watching, shout out to Kenny. Pretty much what it was is we would go to Kenny's parties, and it was like the kind of thing that Kenny would start his party on Friday night, and you would drink all night on Friday. There'd be boxes and boxes and boxes, like beer mids of boxes outside. Like, I don't even know what the trash men think when they see the boxes of alcohol outside of there.
Our best night, and it was actually the night he was kind of sitting up looking around, was like, I gotta get out of Dundalk or I'm gonna die. After he and I got done cleaning, because I was usually the one up helping him clean stuff up, we counted 36 cases. Don't know how many people were there drinking all that beer, but we went through roughly 36 cases of beer in one night.
Yeah, and mind you, those parties too were also started on Friday. You would wake up Friday morning, pass out on this floor. Kenny would nudge you with his phone and go, "You ready to drink?"
Yep.
And if you said no, he'd ask you to leave.
Yep.
That's the way it would go. So we would drink from Friday into Saturday into Sunday. And I play beer pong the way I play beer pong because of Kenny. I'm very anal on how I play beer pong.
I've watched people get smacked and knocked the fuck out because
they cheated.
They either tried to cheat or they did something stupid, knocked over cups or tried to argue with somebody. It just
this younger generation, those stupid fucking rules you have, that would have got you murdered in Kenny's house.
It wouldn't have been
That's
good.
what you try to do that whole fucking behind the back bullshit. Kenny's smacking you across the face as hard as he can. That's what's gonna fucking happen.
So you guys make things too complicated. You throw the fucking ball in the cup. You want to get fancy, you get a little bounce going.
Yeah, and actually, it's funny because when we get together, stories just pop there. And Kenny's house, I'll never forget the story. There was a time where our friend Bobby, he took Kenny's dog, and he threw Kenny's dog into Kenny's pool. And then the next thing you know, we just happened to stumble out back. We didn't know Bobby threw the dog in the pool. Well, we didn't know, but Bobby jumps in the pool and he rescues the dog. And because the dog couldn't swim.
It was a puppy.
Yeah. And he pulls it out. He's like, "Don't worry, I rescued the dog." And at the time, Kenny's stepdad, Ed, was like, "Yeah, that's because you fucking threw it in the pool, you fucking asshole." So, and this is just the beginning. We were talking a little bit on the Patreon. And on our episode a couple of weeks ago with the Perry Hall Ghost Hunters, we mentioned that your cousin now lives in the house that you and your brother both have collectively owned over the years.
Yes.
And there has been so much shit. We could do 1 hour plus of an episode just on that house.
There's been all out brawls. There's been stabbings. People jumping out of windows.
So what was it? We had a party one night and we basically sat there. We were doing slip and slide across the dining room table out the back window. You literally, the neighbors saw fucking
Kevin's
men and women coming out the back window.
Yes.
Nose diving onto the fucking ground.
Yeah, it was Kevin's 21st birthday. His buddy of mine, he just turned 21. Had a big ass party for him at my house.
Yeah.
So somebody got the bright idea to fucking spray Pam down on my dining room table, open the window outside, and people were just running across the table, bare chested, and like sliding out and trying to hit the window and go outside. It was
there was a lot that happened.
That was the night Frank, crackhead Frank, did it with the we had a blow up doll. Somebody walked Kevin.
He got on top of the blow up doll, went out the window and fucking blow up doll.
He went out with the blow up doll.
And I when people used to always ask me, how do you describe your friends? And later on in life, I was just kind of like, have you ever seen The Hangover? Well, yeah. Well, people like that really fucking exist.
Yeah.
And that was us. And also in that night, was that the same night when I flooded your bathroom?
No, that was a different night.
It all kind of meshes together. But anyway, there was a party that we had one night, and and I would have played. I'm not gonna name names. We're here to protect the innocent and protect the guilty tonight. So, but there was a party that you had, and I was talking to some female.
Yes.
And so we ended up in the bathroom. So we're in the bathroom and I'm trying to get her to, do the deed,
Take care of business.
and take care of business. And she's just kind of like, well, I don't know. Mind you, Bobby's lurking. Like he was a lurker. Like if there was he was kind of like a dog. If there was something going on, he knew fucking what the hell.
And motherfucker would just pop up out of nowhere.
So he would pop up. So, I'm sitting there outside and like Bobby's like, where the fuck is Ray? Like outside the door or whatever and all that. And she's like, I'm like, no, fine. Just do it. Just do it. And
touch just
like,
the tip, please.
Yeah. And she's like, no, I'm not sure. And me in my drunken state, I was just kind of like, well, look, if you don't, I just grabbed a random bar of soap. You had like 5 bars of soap, Irish Spring soap on your like bath thing. And I'm like, look,
bathtub, shower,
whatever, like that. Yeah.
Common sense stuff.
Yeah.
That's where we keep the soap in my house.
So anyways, my logic in all this was, well, if you don't do this, I'm going to flush this bar of soap down the toilet. No harm, no foul. Soap disintegrates in water. So she's like, all right, whatever. I'm
not
like,
my house, not my problem.
And I'm like, bitch, you think I'm playing. So I sit there and I take the soap, down the toilet it goes. And she's just kind of like, well, holy shit. I'm like, wow, dude, you got a couple more options. There's like fucking 4 more bars here. Like, it's going to be your fault if something happens to this toilet. So sure enough, I get 4 more no's. So there goes. By the time I made it to 3, mind you, the water was already coming out the top of the toilet. So
and nowadays you do something like that, you're going to jail.
Yeah. So
means no, Ray.
Water's coming out of the top of the toilet, and I don't know, and I mean, it wasn't anything malicious or anything like that, but water's coming out of the toilet by bar 3, and I'm still trying to flush this shit. So by then, meanwhile, while all this is happening, Bobby's knocking on the door. Ray, what's going on in there? What's going on in there? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, Ray's getting blown in the bathroom. And I'm just kind of like, I wish this was happening. Why isn't this happening? Like, no, like there's water exploding out of this toilet. There's no water or any kind of thing exploding out of me. There's water exploding out of this toilet. So anyways, Bobby starts to see the water from underneath the toilet. And he's just kind of like, what the fuck is happening? Like what's happening right now? So I open the door and I'm like, Bobby, we need the plunger. Where's the plunger? Because for some reason the plunger wasn't in the fucking bathroom. So Bobby comes marching up the steps with the fucking plunger. Meanwhile, you're downstairs. You have no fucking idea.
No fucking clue.
What's happening upstairs?
I didn't find out about. So to cut this story short, because it's taking way too long. They plunged the toilet, get it just enough to flush. Well, they broke the piece that's like between the toilet and the piping, cracked or broke from the extra pressure. So the next day, we're in my kitchen because the bathroom's right above my kitchen. We're in the kitchen, and my brother's girlfriend at the time is talking to us. What the fuck is that leaking? And the fucking everything from the toilet just finally busted and came down into my kitchen. So I had to rip out the part of the bathroom floor, replace that, fix the plumbing up there. Completely rip out my kitchen ceiling, replace that. Well, and I'm kind of lucky that it happened because I've actually found out the electrical wiring up there was really, really old and was a fire hazard.
I remember when you called me about that and you told me about it. I'm like, huh? And you're like, do you know why? Do you know why?
Yeah, he told me what happened. And again, you stupid fuck. That's a good way to get your ass sent to jail.
Yeah. But no, I mean, shit. Like we did so much stuff at this part. Okay, so here's a fun story. Way back when I worked at a bowling alley, and I had a job with your mom. First job I ever had. I worked at Family Dollar with your mom. Then I worked at bowling alley with your mom. And so there was one night I was getting ready to get off work, and you guys were drinking all night. You guys drank all the beer in your house, all the liquor in the liquor cabinet. You guys are annihilated. I didn't leave work till about 2 a.m. I was like, all right, I'm coming over. So it was you, Bobby, and Kevin Easy. And so I sit there and I leave.
Rob was there too.
Was okay.
Big Red Rob, yeah.
And so I leave and I get to your house and I walk through the front door and it looks like a burglar came through. The whole house is just trashed. Like I look and I'm like, what? I look at Kevin, I'm like, what the fuck happened? And he's just like, you don't want to know. And I'm just kind of like, what the fuck do you mean? And I just go, I'm like, what the fuck is that? I literally out loud, what the fuck is that? And Kevin's like, you don't want to know. And I'm like, all right, that's it. I'm going upstairs. So I go upstairs, and there's an image burned in my mind that when I'm on my deathbed, I will see this image. Is that I go up there, and you and Bobby both are up there drunk, naked, with a fucking power saw.
Yes.
A power saw. One of those a fucking circular saw.
It's so at the time we had a small dog. It was a pit bull Chihuahua mix.
Homer,
yes. Yeah. And he liked sleeping in Bobby's room, but Bobby would always close his door. So what would happen was the dog would go fucking crazy in the middle of the night and scratch at Bobby's door to get out, because when you get out and walk around, I guess. So what we ended up doing was we were drinking, and Bobby was talking about getting ready to go to bed, and I'm like, all right, whatever, go.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm taking the dog up there, but I'm waking up and he scratches his door. So fuck it, I got a power saw in the basement. We'll just cut a doggy door in it. So we cut the doggy door in the bottom of the door, and still drinking. Something got spilled. I don't remember what got spilled, but something got spilled and my shit got wet, and I took my shirt off, and I don't know. We ended up getting super fucking drunk playing naked tic-tac-toe on the bedroom door and part of the wall.
And mind you like, and imagine you're sober, you're walking up the steps. So you come up the steps, and all I see is just the hole in the door, little teeny tiny, like it was like a mailbox slot, like a little bit bigger than a mailbox slot. And you guys are like, Ray, what's up? And you both throw your arms out like you want to hug me. Meanwhile, you have the saw in your hand,
still running, still going off
with your fucking thumb on the fucking trigger. And it's like, and you're like, Ray, come give us a hug. And I'm like, I am not, absolutely not hugging your drunk, naked asses. And I look, and I'm like, what the fuck did you do to the door? And Bobby's like, well, we made Homer a doggy door. And you're like, can't you see we're playing tic-tac-toe? And like, dude, like we destroyed that house so many fucking times. It wasn't even believable. We acquired one of those mailboxes that you could get free apartment magazines out of.
It was purchased at the flea market.
It was purchased at the flea market that begins with Royal and ends with Farms.
No, we got it from the North Point Flea Market.
Yeah. But anyways, we acquired one of those, and then we would go over to Rofo, buy everything in the window, and buy as many porn magazines as you could possibly imagine. And we would fill that thing like up to the brim with porn magazines.
Yes.
And I don't know how many times either you were drunk or you were pissed off that thing would come flying down the fucking stairwell.
And it was the best when I hit somebody with it. Like, the shock and awe on somebody's face when you take one of those magazine stands filled with porn magazines and you throw it and hit somebody and knock them down a flight of steps. They don't know what the fuck to do. Like, do they want to get mad and you don't punch you in the face? But then they look down and go, "Ooh, look, boobies," and start reading porn magazines.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though. Like, someone can't get mad and punch you in the face, because if anybody tries that, there are people who have tried at your house to do stuff like that. And normally, by the time they would do that, they'd be ripped apart. Yeah, like zombies ripping a human being apart.
It never worked. It never worked well through that.
It never worked out well.
There was too many people there for all that shit.
And we were talking about this a little bit, I think, before we went on for the pre-show, is that there was a time where me, Bobby, and our other friend that has the same name of mine, but I'm not going to say his name, it's just similar to mine or the same exact. But we're sitting there walking around, and the whole thing is we're like, let's go to Chris's house. And it was around the time that bulk trash pickup was coming. So like, there was like all these ovens and all this other kind of fucking shit just sitting around. We're like, let's put this on Chris's porch. Mind you, you had just gave the place to your brother, and we forgot that. We were just drinking, we forgot. So, we go there, we put like road cones, like fucking those barrels, oven, all kinds of this just fucking shit on the porch. And we're sitting there laughing. He throws the door open, he's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? And me and, guy with the same name as me that I'm not going to mention what his name is, points right at Bobby, and we're like, he did it. And so he's like, you motherfuckers. He pulls Bobby in the house. We're like, oh, fuck, we got to save Bobby. So, we go in there and he's just yelling at Bobby. And the whole time he's yelling at Bobby, we're like making faces at Bobby. So Bobby has that that flawless shit eating grin on his fucking face. And your brother was like, you think I'm fucking playing with you? I'm not fucking, get this fucking shit off my porch. And like, we're making faces. So he's grinning the whole time. So your brother fucking picks up a fucking screwdriver and fucking just stabs Bobby with the screwdriver. And we're sitting there. And mind you, Bobby didn't do it. It was us two that fucking did it. So Bobby takes this fucking screwdriver like a fucking champ. And then when we leave, he's just like, are you guys happy? And we're just kind of like, he didn't stab us.
You got stabbed.
Better you than us. And I mean, speaking of fighting, there was this thing all throughout high school, and even when we drank, every single time something would happen, you'd be like, Ray, get him. Like that.
I was a little fucker with a big mouth.
Yeah.
And Ray was a big quiet fucker. So I would run my fucking mouth, and then somebody would look at me weird. I'm like,
yeah,
Ray, get him. You're a big wrestler guy, get him.
And of course, Tom Nutty, who's watching live on Facebook Live, he said, I stole a basketball hoop once, and the kid's dad showed up and wanted to fight us all. We were 15 at the time. That's great. And speaking, there's a story. There were a couple of times that for my birthday or various other occasions, we would rent right down in Middle River, Maryland. There was a place called Al's Seafood. We would rent a Baltimore Ravens short bus. And we would concoct the worst imaginable scavenger hunts that you could ever devise.
What was the name? We got kicked out of the one night that I went. We got kicked out of we got barred from 3 bars.
Yes,
one night.
We got. Well, I'll never forget. I wish I still had it. There was a photo that we had of. There was one of the things on a scavenger hunt was go into the bar in just your underwear, and it was me and you in our boxers, and Bobby had this toucan.
The toucan.
Yeah. And his Johnson went into the toucan.
Yeah.
And there was this image that we took of all of us running. You just see the back ends of us, all of us looking at each other, just proud. You can see the pride in our face of us running into this bar. And as soon as and mind you, this was a bar, we went there all the time. The owners knew us. But as soon as we got in there, we're like, look, we need to get a drink. Because the thing was to get into the bar, get a drink, and leave.
Yeah, that was the night Bobby did body shots off your dad, who was like 67, 68 at the time, something like that. You guys did what I didn't do it. I don't know where I was at, but somebody ripped the sign off the brick. Barstool got stolen. They took all of the beer mats where they poured a shot glass and the drinks and where the extra alcohol goes. They took all of those from behind the bar.
I remember the bar mats. Like there was at some point we went back on the bus and I smacked you across your bare ass with a bar mat. It was a Coors Light one.
Yeah.
And it said Coors Light with the Rockies in the background on your ass for like 3 days straight. And it was glorious. I was like, this is the best thing I've like. Who would have thought that if you sat there and just take one of those things back and just border correction somebody across their ass with it?
That was
like,
that was a bad night. But the fuck, Christ,
we ripped the sign off the front of the bar as well, and
you guys did like $1,500 worth of damage to that bar.
And we were taking pictures throughout the night, and somehow the pictures ended up on Facebook, and the bar responded. The bar saw the photos. So me and Bobby went there the next day because they were like, hey, we're going to call the cops. If you
and I don't know how, but I wasn't in any of them photos.
Yeah. And so we gather up whatever we have remaining. Gather up with the pool balls, the remaining glasses, the bar stool, the sign. And we drive back up to the bar. And we're like, hey, here's your stuff. We're sorry we did this. And the owner was like, I've owned this bar for close to 30 years, and you guys have done more damage in 15 minutes than what anybody's done the entire time I've owned this bar. And we're like, look, we're drinking. We had the scavenger hunt. He's not caring, but this is our reasoning. We're like, look, we were doing the scavenger hunt. We figured that this place would be the object of our affection this night. So, and so anyways, we were like, look, we're sorry. This is what we could salvage. Some of the other guys ended up with some of the other stuff. We can't get it back. We'll pay to have your wall repaired. And he's like, okay, that's fair. So then it doesn't end there. Bobby sits there and looks the guy straight in his fucking eyes, eye to eye, and goes, "Do you have the video of that by any chance?" "Yeah." "Can we have it?" "Get out."
Speaking of videos, one of the funniest things, it's something small. We were at the bowling alley. My mother was the manager there.
No, I think
And
I
we're all there drinking one night, and bartender cuts us off. Was like, "You guys have been here way too long.
We were all drinking. Shocking. Shocking.
No more drinks." So we were like, all right, we start looking for a ride home because we're not driving.
Yeah.
And
Uber didn't exist back then. For you young folk out there, Uber would have been a lifesaver for us so many times.
so while we're waiting for our ride to come pick us up, apparently Bobby wanders back into the bar, and my mom calls him and was like, "Just so you know, Bobby got caught on camera stealing." I was like, "What are you talking about?" She sends me the video. Guy buys a pitcher of beer, sits it down on the table, and like turns around, walks away. And then you see Bobby coming from the other way, stops, looks at the pitcher of beer, shakes his head, looks around, grabs the pitcher, drinks the entire pitcher, puts it down, and then walks away.
Yeah, off he goes. That off he goes. And dude, we had some nights there too, and mainly because we got away with it because your mom was the boss.
Yeah.
And any other place, like I remember, she was pissed because I broke the jukebox.
We had like 13 people the one night, guys and girls, and everybody was just like bowling in their underwear.
Yeah, and it's the kind of thing that.
And I don't even think we were drinking at that point.
Yeah, but that was before we were drinking. I remember she got mad because I broke the jukebox. We had to have it repaired because we got drunk. We were playing songs, and "She Bangs" by Ricky Martin came on. Every time I said "She Bangs," I would hump the fucking jukebox, and it just stopped working at that point. And I'm like, man, like I kind of felt proud at that point. Like I was just kind of like, man, I brought the thunder on this jukebox so much. It's
he's ignoring the fact that the fucker's 240 fucking pounds at the time, 250 pounds. I mean, what do you expect to happen?
And dude, and speaking of which, I think that this day, and I'll name drop this place because I don't give a shit because I'll probably never go there ever again. I think to this day we're still banned from the Dundalk Denny's. We've been thrown out of the Dundalk Denny's so many times.
Actually, the only time I was asked to leave was because of a fight that I wasn't even part of.
Well, you didn't go there as much. It was mainly me, Bobby, and the guy with the same name like mine that I'm not going to mention. We would go there religiously.
Yeah.
And I think you were with us the night. I think it was you that we went there and they asked us to leave. Like we went there and we started to act like fools. We didn't even get our food, and they asked us to leave. So we're like, well, fuck, we're hungry. So we all went outside and we switched clothes.
Now, I wasn't there for actually, I'm sorry. I was asked to leave there twice. Once because there was a fight happened that was like next to my table, and they thought me and my friends were involved, and we weren't, so we were kicked out as well. And then the other night we were kicked out was they were out of ice, and I don't know why I had a trunk full of ice, but we were selling ice to people in Denny's out of the trunk of my fucking car.
Yeah. We for some reason we ended up with we always ended up with things.
We went out. No, that's we I think we were heading to Kenny's or just leaving Kenny's, and we bought ice for the second keg for the next night, and we were supposed to go back to Kenny's and drop ice off to keep the keg cold, and we decided to stop at Denny's and eat with a trunk full of ice, and sold the ice in the trunk of my car at Denny's because their ice machine was broken, and they weren't happy about that for some reason.
And big shout out to Seabiscuit. Matty Paul, he just said my boys on the Facebook Live, so shout out to Matty Paul. We're not gonna we're not even gonna but good old Matty Paul, Seabiscuit, and there's a reason why we call him Seabiscuit. If you've ever seen a garden hose, then you kind of know why we call him that. But anyways, what I'm going to do real quick is for everybody listening at home, what we're going to do, this is probably going to be an extended episode. So keep in mind, this will probably be about an hour and 45 minutes. For those of you listening at home, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, get a word in from some of our sponsors, and then we'll be right back with some of our games, the beer of the week, shot of the month, etc. And just stay tuned. We'll be right back. For those of you watching live, you know how this works. We get right back into it. Welcome back to the Happy Hour podcast. My name is Ray. Of course, I'm sitting here with Chris. before we went to our commercial break,
I got
we were talking
excited. I
about-
thought I was gonna get a cigarette break, but I guess not. I was like, I'm gonna go smoke real quick. I'll be right back. No,
Well, for
fucking
those
Facebook Live. Fuck you.
Yeah, for those of you listening at home on Facebook Live, I don't have the technology to actually do a break where a little like nice little happy hour podcast logo pops
You
up.
figure
on the
that
screen.
shit out. Kind of half-ass shit you got me on this motherfucker.
But
I thought this was professional shit.
So
I saw you on Spotify. God damn it.
So, anyways, what we're gonna do real
Matt,
quick
come beat his ass.
is I'm gonna get into the beer of the week, which fun story. This is the second time this has happened to me. Is I went to the liquor store earlier and I got really excited because I saw Jim Beam infused Budweiser. So I pick it up. I'm like, Chris, this is what we're drinking tonight. Little I know it'd be only me drinking it tonight, but this is what we're drinking tonight. So I get it here and I open up the case and I get ready to fill the cooler up. And I look at the box and it says July 3rd, 2019. And mind you, beer holds up a while, but it ain't holding up no 3 fucking years. So I
2.5.
drive back
For
up
those
the
of
road.
us that math.
Hey, dude, well, we have Dundalk education, so that's good. It's kind of but so I'm like, hey, dude, is there any way that you can exchange this out? So he's like, oh well, yeah. So now we ended up with this week's beer of the week, which is still a Bud product, which is Bud Light Lemonade. And last year we tried the Bud Light Orange. Bud Light Orange was solid, and actually, like, Bud Light Lemonade is a plus. I like it. Go out, grab yourself some Bud Light Lemonade.
I'll try.
All right. So shout out to Bud Light Lemonade. Chris is gonna not be an old man like our typical co-host Mike, and actually shout out to Mike. I don't know where the hell he is, and shout out to Matt. Matt's just getting over the COVID. So Matt, be better.
Matt, I hope your wife beats your ass.
And what we're gonna do too is, if you're willing, we're gonna get into the shot of the month for the month of April. And Chris is just chugging that down like it's nothing. Like he's trying to prove that he's the man that he was before, the man that he was 10 years ago. And of course, some of you may know our shot of the month is Hartley VSOP. So Chris, you willing to to put some of this, put some hair on your chest? We're not going to fill those up because I'm telling you, I'm not going to do this much of it. It could have been worse. You could have been on when we had the gin.
Oof, no,
the gin was fucking terrible. The gin was awful. So, and plus, once we take this, our stories are just going to flow a little bit better. So there's that. And I'll let you put however much you want in yours.
And for those of you watching at home, this is my first shot in probably 5 years.
And, everybody knows the way it works. Here on the Happy Hour podcast, we legitimately drink on this show. It's probably too much. But hey, I mean, you live 5 minutes away. And your wife keeps commenting live, so she can always just come pick you up.
Fuck no, she's gonna make me walk. I love you, babe.
So, anyways, here we go. Shout out to Hartley VSOP, and this is the first brandy we've had as a shot of the month. Oh man! All right, so normally on the second half, we'll get back into our stories and all that shortly. We do our games. So, since technically you're the guest this week, we're gonna get into the game. So. Our first game is 5-second rule. So, Chris, do you know how 5-second rule works?
No.
So,
I got 5 seconds to do something.
You have 5 seconds to answer, name 3 of a certain thing. So, of course, you're with me live, so you kind of see what the card is. So, what I'm going to do is when I tell you to, I'm going to flip this over. And what you're going to do is you're going to name in 5 seconds 3 male country singers.
Okay.
Starting now.
All right, Garth Brooks, Toby Keith, Eric Church, Tim McGraw.
All right, that's it. It didn't even get to me.
Country is my shit.
Normally we end up going, back and forth with a handful of people, but Kristen didn't need to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into incoherent. So, of course, your grandmother watching at home, she knows this because we play this every week. So shout out to Chris's grandmother. What we're going to do. And
hi, Nan. Love you.
Once we come back, we're going to get into that story.
It's my grandmother. We're not Dave and Ashley, but mine.
So what we're going to do is we're going to incoherent. So you're going to sound this out in drunkenese. You know drunkenese very well. I know you know drunkenese very well.
I haven't studied in a while.
You have 2 hints on the back of the card.
Okay.
And basically it's called incoherent because you want to hear yourself say it. So say it as fast as you can and see if you can figure it out. So Chris, what does that card say?
Sure, Gore Fury. Sugar Fury.
Close.
Sugar Furry. Sugar Factory.
Would you like a hint?
Sure.
A boring alternative.
Ray Chase.
The less appeasing, healthy alternative.
A carrot.
Yeah, you were almost there. Your first couple of guesses.
Sugar substitute.
Sugar free.
Sugar
It's
free.
sugar free. So
Oh.
for those of you watching at home, that's what the card looks like. That is sugar free. So sugar free. And of course, we can't do Ode to Humanity without Cards Against Humanity.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is you're actually here, so you get the cards.
All right.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to read off the black card.
Okay.
And I'm going to read off what all the options are because they're all funny anyways. But here we go. The class field trip was completely ruined by blank.
So doing the right stuff to her nipples.
All right. So the class field trip was completely ruined by doing the right stuff to her nipples. And of course, the other options were, and I saw this one earlier, and I thought this was the best, and this is just my corroded mind, is that the field trip was completely ruined by maximal insertion. And then other options were Vietnam flashbacks and pictures of boobs, all of which our field trips could have been ended by that. Now, that was our segment, Ode to Humanity. What we're going to do is we're going to get right back into it. So you said that your grandmother watches the show. There's always a story that I tell people that's down in the back of my mind, that we went to help your grandfather one time. I'm not sure if we were still in school or what. I think we
were 15, 16.
Okay. So we went to help your grandfather pick up, I think it was a dishwasher, a dryer, something from Sears. So for those of you youngins listening, Sears was a really famous department store. So we go to Sears, and your grandfather, for some reason, he got really bothered by the squirrels. Like, weren't the squirrels eating his plants or his vegetables?
He had apple trees and peach trees in his front yard.
Okay.
The squirrels kept fucking them up.
Yeah. So he put out squirrel traps.
Right.
So he pretty much put out the squirrel trap, and he caught a squirrel. So he's like, all right, he has a squirrel. He hands it to you. He's like, Chris, release this thing in the woods. You're like, okay, cool. So me and you were sitting there being idiots, and you put the squirrel on the tailgate of his truck.
Yeah, inside the other truck, and forgot it was there.
So we're being idiots. So your grandfather, he's like, come on, let's get in the truck. Let's go. So we get in the truck. So mind you, he drives with the squirrel in the cage, and he's like going like 80. Like your grandparents are boss. Like, your grandmother always had Corvettes and stuff like that.
Grandmother got in trouble for racing her Corvette around the mall.
Yeah. So he's like going like 80 in his truck. So this squirrel is being wind beaten to death. This like squirrel's pissed. So, we get the Sears, and he goes in, and I think the people were kind of giving him a little bit of a hard time. Like, it wasn't ready. And he opens up the tailgate. Once they go, it'll be back in 5 minutes. And he looks at it, he sees the squirrel. He's like, Chris, didn't I ask you to release this thing? And you're like, oh shit, Pop, I forgot. So he's like, let it out. Like, what are you doing? So you put it down, and you put it down facing away from the mall. So you open it, and the squirrel runs out as fast as it could. It fucking U-turns, runs into the fucking mall, runs into Sears. And we see it jump into the fucking clothes rack.
Yeah, it was fucking tearing Sears up for whoever knows.
Yeah, and we heard some lady screaming and all that.
You had to play dumb. Like,
your
there's a fucking squirrel in here, fucking assholes.
Your grandfather was just like, let's get the fuck out of here. like get this shit over here. Like, they bring it out during this fucking chaos, and it's just completely insane. The squirrel story always. We
had to hide the fucking squirrel trap by somebody else's car because again he's getting shit from Sears loaded into his truck. We can't have the squirrel trap sitting there.
Yeah.
So we got to fucking hide it in the parking lot by somebody else's car. Like, this fucking asshole over here letting squirrels out. What's fucking wrong with these people?
Yeah. And we're gonna jump around a lot because stories like we don't need to think of any of it. Like, it just comes to us naturally. And I remember when we had the Perry Hall Ghost Hunters on, we brought up. I
did not piss my pants on that ghost hunt. I was drinking heavily and I spilled something.
Yeah, he allegedly spilled something.
It was
that's what he's
I
saying.
fucking spilled my alcohol.
Do you still have the shirt that they presented to you?
Yes, I do. It's a yellow shirt. It's somewhere in my house. I use it when I'm cleaning the yard and doing shit. It says I pissed myself on a ghost hunt.
You should have wore that tonight. That would have been great.
I see you're watching, Eddie. There you go.
And for those of you listening, he just gave the bird. You know, Ed, that's very well. If you're listening to Happy Hour podcast, you're an equal opportunity. You like to offend people like we do. So, but anyways, we're gonna go back. They brought up Westmoreland.
It's like, hi Eddie, I remember you.
I remember when I've only been on the Westmoreland trip with you one time.
That was more than that. At least twice.
Was it twice?
At
I don't
least.
know. We did a lot of drinking, but anyways,
it was the you went one time. It was at least twice, because the one time you went, it was planned that you were going, and the one time
that's right.
The one time Ray went, I was, for those of you who don't know me, I was in the Air Force. Respectfully asked to leave after 6 weeks.
They told me it was too ugly for the Air Force.
Pretty much.
I would have never thought that, but
I called my my loving, caring mother and was like, Ma, this is the 3-day window. I'm getting sent home from Texas. They won't give me an exact date till morning of. They're going to come in 3 o'clock in the morning, say, get the fuck up, get the fuck out.
And she's like, bitch, we're in Westmoreland.
No, actually, no. What she said was, okay, thanks for the 3-day window. Call me when you know what day. Ma, it'll be the morning of. Yeah. And this is back before cell phones were readily available. Back then, I don't know how it is now, but back then, even if you had a cell phone, you could not have it in basic training with you. They take all of that shit. Sometimes it got stolen, sometimes it got broken. Mine did get broken, so they fucking wake me up full 3 o'clock in the morning. I gotta throw my shit in a bag, get on a bus, go to the airport, and I've got no change, no money, no nothing. Again, I just spent 6 weeks in Texas. I had no cash, no nothing. So I try and call my mother's house, collect from a payphone, and no answer. I'm like, all right, well, I'll get on an airplane. My, it's the military, so I don't get a fancy flight. I go from Texas to Georgia. I fucking 6-hour layover in Georgia. Call my mom again. Nothing.
Oh, I didn't know the 6-hour layover in Georgia.
I'm calling everybody I can think of. Nothing. I get on my plane, head to BWI, and I'm stuck at the airport, and I'm calling everybody I know. Nothing. Finally, I call Ray at probably midnight now. Collect. Was like, hey, I'm at BWI. Answer the phone. I need help. Midnight. This motherfucker comes with his dad. As the kind of that guy his dad was. His dad called out of work.
You
because
and Bobby,
I needed a ride home, and was like, dude, you live with me now.
You and Bobby. Honestly, my dad looked at you guys like second son.
Oh yeah,
he loved you guys more than he loved me. He used to give me a hard time, and he would have real conversations.
His dad was one of the greatest people. And it said fucking midnight, no questions asked. Was like, hey, I like Mr. Chase. I got no ride home. So finally, he comes up and picks me up. And that's when Ray tells me, your mom took off, because he was working with her at the time. He was like, your mom took off of work and went to Virginia. They're camping. I'm like, I told her I was coming home. Like, at least something.
And I remember you looked at me and you're like, well, Ray, guess what? We're camping now.
Dude, we're going. We got home at midnight. We got 3-4 hours of sleep. We got up, went to my house. I found the keys to my car and packed a small bag. And Ray's like, dude, I got to be to work in 2 hours. I don't give a fuck, dude. My mom's your manager. I said you're not going to work.
And she didn't know we were coming.
Nobody.
Nobody knew you were home yet. So
this was before cell phones were real big, so it wasn't like you could just call and say, "Hey, by the way, this is what's going on." No, we got in the fucking car. We drove 3 hours to Virginia. We show up, and my mom's looking at Ray, going, "The fuck are you doing here? We're supposed to be at work." I get out of the car, so he had to come pick me up from the airport, so now you're going to pay him to fucking drink with me up here in Virginia.
And so she called me out of work that entire weekend. That entire weekend, she called me out of work so we could drink.
She had a cell phone and didn't give me the fucking cell phone number, is what it was. See, that's how much my family loves me. They all have fucking cell phones and not give me the number.
And after that, you lived with me for a good while.
About 6. I know my brother was in a real bad car accident, and he ended up moving into my mom's house, into my room that was there. Again, they knew I was coming home from the military, and nobody told me that your brother is staying in your room because he's got nerve damage in his face and is all fucked up.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So
this
instead,
shit.
you put the two of us together.
Yeah.
That was just
like,
chaos waiting to happen.
Fuck it. His dad found out and didn't hesitate and say, hey, we got a spare room upstairs. Stay here.
But it was funny because we get one of the Westmoreland trips, and we talked about this briefly on the Perry Hall Ghost Hunter thing. It was me, you, and Kenny, and Cole who were there.
Yeah.
At Westmoreland, and that trip was just insanity.
We had to shower in somebody else's cabin because there was a keg in the shower, and they caked. They filled the shower up with ice, made a little indentation to stick the keg in it, and turn the water on so they could mold the ice to the keg.
Yeah. Well, no, it was because Kenny took a shower with it. The hot water hit the keg.
Okay,
and then he molded it around the keg. So if we wanted to shower in that shower, and
you were showering with the keg.
Kenny only showered in that shower because he had the keg thing in his mouth while he was, showering. And this is the kind of thing, and I tell people this all the time, is that people always go, man, your stories are so outrageous. But then somebody else tells them, and it confirms or denies of what other people were saying. And we say it in different ways. And that was one of the things is, the whole keg in the shower being molded there. And I remember it was the thing that we also built the fire. We knocked down that tree. Well, the fire was higher than a cabin.
Yeah, they were not happy about that.
Yeah, your brother left the gas can on top of
the fireplace. We had a huge fire outside. We're drinking. My brother's like, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go in the house and grab a beer. This motherfucker goes in there, starts a fire in the fireplace, and passes out on the couch.
Yeah.
And he was a rookie when it comes to starting fires. Where I come from, we start that shit with fucking 2 sticks and a little bit of paper. He's got to use the fire spray shit. So he sprays the fucking logs down, starts the fire, loads it up with wood, and puts the fire starter shit on top of the fireplace. The fucking thing is getting so hot, the plastic containers throbbing back and forth.
Yeah.
Because it's expanding and shit like that from the heat, like ready to fucking blow right above the fire. So when it does, the bottle finally breaks, it's going to leap into the fucking fire and burn the cabin down with his dumbass in there sleeping.
And that's the thing. And of course, we don't even have to bring up the story of Kenny peeing on Cole. I told
fucking hilarious every time.
And I remember that because me and you were in the same cabin and we had 2 separate beds and we're sitting there and all we hear, it was kind of like a horror movie. Like all you hear is in the distance, Sweet Home Alabama, just throughout the whole entire campground. So that's all you hear repeatedly. And then you just hear a yell and it just goes
turn that
silent.
Shit off.
Yeah. And it's silence. All you hear is crickets. And you're just kind of like, did Kenny get murdered? Like, did someone murder? And then you just hear screaming. And me and you were like, what the hell is that? So we're just running down to see what happens. And we run into the cabin where Cole and Kenny were staying. And you just see, and for those of you watching live, those of you listening, unfortunately, you can see, but you see Kenny just kind of standing there with his pants down. His pants are down, and he's just pointing up to the sky like this. And he's like, that's right. I did it. I'll do it again. And Cole is soaking wet. So he peed on Cole for yelling at it. And we knew at that point, not to fuck with Kenny. We knew not to fuck with Kenny anyways beforehand.
Yeah, he was a big redneck hillbilly son of a bitch. Yeah. He was one of my best friends, so Kenny, which actually I don't think you have a Facebook anymore. So Amanda, tell Kenny I said hi.
Yeah, and real quick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of sidetrack a little bit. I want to give a shout out to Beefalo Bill's
Beefalo
Bob's. I'm sorry.
It's your fucking sponsor. You can't even get the name right.
Not our sponsor.
Look, go to Beefalo Bob's in Arundel County. They have 2 locations, one in Curtis Bay on Fort Smallwood Road, one in Pasadena on Mountain Road. Get the combo pit beef pit ham sandwich, medium rare for the pit beef with a side of coleslaw and a Coke. Best fucking meal you'll have all week. Love that place.
So, and also what I want to do is I want to plug our good friend Bubba Almany, who's a celebrity bodyguard. He is putting on a charity basketball game in his hometown of Snow Hill, Maryland on August 28th. Make sure you go out. The Happy Hour podcast is going to be there. Some of the Harlem Globetrotters are going to be there. Jacoby Jones, Kendra Lust,
Mile High Miracle, Kobe Jones. Great catch. The reason why the Ravens went to the Super Bowl in 2013.
So shout out to Bubba. Make sure you go out. Tickets are only $10. Yeah, go out, get general admission. It's to support bullying, child bullying,
no, it's to
child
support
cancer.
Anti-bullying.
Yeah,
anti-bullying.
Anti-bullying.
Child bullying is not good. Do not bully children.
And
If you bully children, you're an asshole.
Bubba was such a nice guy. Like he was just so God bless.
Bubba, I'm sorry about Ray.
And when Bubba was on, and I'm pretty sure he'll probably watch this. Normally he drops in and comments weekly, but he's probably Bubba Almany has been rated humanitarian of the year by various magazines. He does security for. I try to get out of him, dude. I want to know a story of when you broke somebody's arm, like you broke their arm and their fucking bone came out of their elbow. He wanted Bubba one day on this show, you're going to tell me who you fucked up and why. But speaking of a lot of the stuff, oh man, dude, I remember we talked about your house and we used to have parties there. And there were times where you would break up the parties and I'm not sure if you know where I'm going with this, but you would break up the parties. People wouldn't leave. So you always had a stock of fireworks. And
that was Ray and Bobby, where they would light fireworks off and throw people. When I got mad and wanted people to leave, I would throw either chairs at them or the porn magazine. And then when I pulled the knife out, is usually when everybody left.
Yeah, and see, the thing is me and Bobby, what we would do is we would go upstairs to Bobby's room, which was that corner room, which had the hole and the tic-tac-toe and all that shit on the door. And we would open the window. Everybody still be out there being loud, obnoxious. And we would take Roman candles. We would light the Roman candles and we would fire them out of the window down onto the Patreons. Like the people that were just around, and you would see them just hitting people, and they would just scatter, and it'd just be like, "All right, well, party's over." Yeah. And speaking of Roman candle, there was a time me and Bobby we were drinking. I'm not gonna say whether or not we were drinking and driving, but we were in a vehicle and we were on a highway. So, anyways, we sat there and we had Roman candles. And you guys had the matching Cavaliers.
Yes, blood. The bus was talked about. Not to a large extent, but it was briefly covered.
Yes. We have talked about the bus, but there's more we can get into with the bus. We're just kind of hopping all around as things come. But yeah, shout out to Blood, one of the War Pigs. He's over in South Carolina. I love you, buddy. I missed you. But anyways. We were into Cavaliers. You guys had matching Cavaliers.
John, was it you? If you want to answer on the Facebook message, was it you? No, it was Matt. Matt, are you still watching? The upper decker at Journeys. That's what got kicked us out and banned from Journeys was when you took a shit in the top of that toilet.
Yeah. Well, I remember we went to Ocean City. Do you remember? And we used to call it Ocean Shitty. So we're going to redirect now. In the middle of my story, this is what happens on a Happy Hour podcast. The train just derails. So
the producer's a fucking idiot and does not know how to keep shit on track. So he needs to fire that motherfucker.
We went to Ocean City, Maryland, for those of you, who don't know what I'm talking about. But we had something that we called battle shits.
Oh, you were running into different each other's hotel rooms.
Yeah, we kept on going into each other's hotel rooms and taking dumps and leaving it.
And they weren't regular. They were beer shits. They were from 12, 13 hours straight of fucking drinking beer and Jack and whatever else we could get our hands on.
We almost got thrown out of the hotel because we kept on dropping the beer bottles off the side of the fucking.
Well, no, it happened. We didn't keep doing it. It happened one time, and it was complete accident. And it was our beer bottle that was knocked over, but it wasn't us that did it. There was another group up there. We were drinking and having a good time, but there was another group of people that were just being loud assholes, and they were throwing a football or a frisbee on a deck. Why would you do that? You have a beach 30 feet away. Yeah. And one of the guys knocked the beer bottle over. Our other friend got blamed for it and almost got beat up by a dude. It was hilarious, but we almost got kicked out of the hotel.
I feel like we're gonna fall down an Ocean City rabbit hole right now because we have a lot of Ocean City memories. And this
guy is the reason why the Build-A-Bear is mounted onto the boardwalk now. They got him on camera when they first opened that store up with the bear out front before it was mounted down to the boardwalk. This fucker decides to get in the 3-point stance and tackle the fucking thing over and then keep running.
I remember we were we were at that trip. And you fucked me up so bad right now.
Fuck that trip because I wasn't old enough to get into the bar, so I had to drink by myself. These motherfuckers left me.
That was me and Bobby's because my birthday's in April. Actually, my birthday's 3 days from now. My birthday was in April.
Which I'll forget about.
Bobby's birthday was in June. Yours is in November. So as soon as Bobby turned 21, we're like, let's go to Osage City. And you're like, well, what about me? We're like, fuck you. So, you're drinking in the room. So we're like out drinking. And that same trip was the trip when me and Bobby almost got arrested.
Petting a horse on a boardwalk.
One of many reasons. Like we used to be an avid drinker. Shout out to Rolling Rock. It was one of our beers of the week not too long ago. But we used to be avid Rolling Rock drinkers.
Back when it was good, when it was from Latrobe, PA. Now it's owned by Budweiser. It's not as good.
Yeah, but we were on the boardwalk, and we're walking down the boardwalk, and Bobby looks up and he sees this white horse, and he's like, "Oh, Ray, look, it's the Rolling Rock pony." He's like, let's thank him for all the memories he gave us. So, we're petting the horse. Bobby's like smacking it on its ass. And next thing we know, we see this booted foot just kicking at us. Like, hey, stop. We look up. There's a cop on said horse. So there's a cop on that horse. It was a horse cop. So, he's like, hey, look, you guys have 3 options right now. And the one guy who has the same name as me, who I'm not going to mention, I'm not going to call his name out, right? He was with us too. And he's like, you have 3 options right now. You can go back to the bar. Well, that's not an option. We're done with that bar. We're moving on. You can go back to your hotel room. That definitely ain't happening. Or you can go to jail. And Bobby had this keen thing for asking people if they like bubble gum and then squeezing his balls to look like bubble gum. And he's like, officer, let me ask you a question. Do you like bubble gum? And at that point, me and guy with the same name, who I'm not going to, mention right now, grab Bobby and we pull him away. We're like, no. We're going to go to another bar. We're sorry. And that was one of the many times we came that close to being arrested. And I remember there was time, but one of the first times I went to Ocean City as an adult was with you. And we stayed at the hotel is no longer there, but we stayed at a hotel. And I remember me and you used to randomly break into random UFC fights. And the UFC fights would happen. And we broke into a random UFC battle and we broke like the wheel on the bed. So we're like panicking. We're like, we're going to have to fucking fix this. And your solution was, let's kill everybody in the hotel. So
I had been drinking heavily. This is back before Ray like drank. Like his time of like drinking and getting crazy was like a fucking 6-pack of Zima. And I think it started because I got pissed. He used to cause a UFC fight. I got pissed off because we were walking down the boardwalk and a group of girls walked by us, and neither one of us are very attractive. I mean, let's face it. Yeah,
we're very ugly.
We both got very lucky. We both married up, like way up.
Yeah.
So
and they married way down.
So yeah, definitely. So we're fucking 18, 19 years old. And we're fucking walking down the boardwalk. And the one girl like breaks her neck and is like just staring at Ray. I'm like, Ray, go talk to her, dude. Like, she's got a friend. Like, get us in the door. Like, they weren't looking at me; they were looking at you. So he's like, I don't know, man. He's like, well, let's go back to the room and we'll have a couple of drinks and maybe that'll help me out. Because again, he was before he's we were fucking 17 or 18. I think your dad had to fucking buy the room for us. So we get back in a room, and
that was before I drank, and I was drinking Zima.
Yeah,
and that bothered the shit out of you.
It pissed me off.
Oh man, dude. No, was it Zima? Was it Zima? What was it? It was
fucking Zima or Skylight or something.
It was Skylight.
But we get back to the room, and I've got a fucking 5th of Jack and a 30-pack, and he brings a fucking 6-pack of Zima or Skylight or whatever the fuck it was called. So I get mad. I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like this is why we came down here. And I don't remember what he said. He said something stupid. So I punched him. And when I punched him, he looked at me and I pushed him. And when I pushed him, he fucking fell. The fucking wheel of the bed pops off. So
and we're just kind of like, fuck.
I bought Gorilla Glue and fucking tape to try and fix it. It didn't work. So he was like, oh, this is on my fucking dad's car. We're going to get fucking charged for this. So I like come up with this plan. I was like, we can just get out of the hotel. Nobody will ever know we were here. And So then finally, I'm like, you know what? I got an idea. Called down to the hotel desk. Was like, hey, the wheel on this fucking bed's broken. Like, what the hell's going on here? So they ended up moving us to a bigger and better room and apologized. And it was
But
better.
originally you were like, let's just kill everybody here. And of course, Blood commenting live, he's like, and you should, you son of a bitch. How dare you? And our Ocean City trips are kind of meshing together. But I remember there was a trip too where we had.
If it doesn't burn when you pee, you're not peeing like a man. That is from fucking Blood. That's what he says. If it doesn't burn when you pee, you're not a real man.
And the whole thing is we were in Ocean City.
Your piss should be flammable.
we were in Ocean City, and somehow we all got split up. I got split up. You got split up. Bobby got split up. You somehow set yourself on fire.
Yeah. That was oh fuck. That was 2008.
Yeah.
That's back when I was. I used to drink a lot.
Yeah. You ended up setting yourself on fire. Bobby ended up going home with some like 50-year-old woman.
No, he didn't go home. He got caught by her. He got
was
caught on the
beach
beach with this old lady by her daughter. Her daughter was younger than he was.
And then I ended up by myself too. And I remember
Tom said you need to make a shirt about Blood saying if your piss is inflammable, you're not a real man.
Yeah. That we should put that. Tom Nutty, if we put that on the shop and you don't buy one, I'm gonna find you in your nice new house and I'm gonna slit your throat in your sleep.
That's a little far. You should never say anything like that on the police, FBI, NCIS, CIA. If you're watching this,
yeah. But
I had no part of that. I was at home the whole time.
I'm not sure if it was when we got split up or what, but I remember there was at one point we were so drunk, we ended up running into a group full of chicks, and I don't know what any of them looked like. I don't remember. Whatever. It was like 7 chicks, and there was like 3 of us, and we're walking back to the room. And we're just kind of like, yeah, this is going to happen. And, we get back, and the hotel we were in had one of those old school elevators where they had to hit a lever to have it go up and down. So, we're sitting there, and we were being rambunctious the whole night. They were just kind of like, we're not sure if we should let these fuckers back in the hotel to begin with. So we sit there, and I remember I'm walking, I dropped my pizza like 7 times on the ground. And, of course, when you drop that kind of stuff, you pick it back up and you keep eating it. And so dropped it numerous times.
That wasn't me.
And then we get back and they're like, you guys can go up to your room, but the chicks can't. And the guy, there was a bellhop. He hit the lever up.
Right.
And at that point, I hit the lever down. I'm like, we're not going fucking nowhere. I was like, fuck you, and all that. And like, it started to become a situation, but it's very, very much of a bubble. But the one thing that I take the most, there's two things that I take the most out of Ocean City when we would go to Ocean City. One was the drunk bus because it was always fun. I remember there was one time we were there and Bobby pissed all over the back steps, like while we were on the drunk bus, and we knew it was there. So when we went to got off, we grabbed the handles and we like flung ourselves over the steps. Meanwhile, all these drunk people were getting on walking through Bobby's piss.
I don't think I was there for the piss on the bus.
You might not remember.
I remember like on the short bus for your bachelor party where I think it was Blood threw Bobby in a trash can and he pissed and he shit himself in the trash can.
And that was where one of my favorite Bud Light hats were, and they ended up in that trash can. I was like, I'm not going back for it. Fuck it, I don't care. And
I think Bobby was doing some weird shit, like trying to hump him, and Blood got mad and like just picked him up and like dropped him in the trash. And Bobby started laughing. And next thing you know, he stops laughing. What's wrong? Did you get hurt? He goes, no, I pissed myself and shit myself.
And no one wanted to help him out of the trash can. And it's the kind of thing that I remember. The number one story from Ocean City was we were walking back from the bars. This was like all the way far up Ocean City where like the bars stopped. And we're walking, and we all look down, and we're like, man, that's weird. Why the fuck is there a jellyfish on the fucking boardwalk?
For those of you just watching at home, I just farted. That was my fart face.
And so we're fucking sitting there. We're looking at this jellyfish, and we're looking how far away it is from the ocean, and we're like, how the fuck did it get here? Like it's taking us 15 minutes to fucking try to figure out how this jellyfish got here. And I'm not sure if it was you or Bobby. But somebody was like, Ray, I'll give you like $30 right now if you eat it.
Sounds like something I would do.
Yeah. So I sit there and I grab a random stick off the ground. So I found a stick. I don't know where the fuck you find a stick in Ocean City, but I had a stick.
On the ground.
And I sit there and I scoop up the jellyfish. and I'm slowly bringing it up to my mouth, and my tongue's out. I'm like, and finally I touch it to my tongue, and you, Bobby, like, oh fuck, and I sit there, and my like face changes, and I'm just kind of like, guys, this isn't a jellyfish, and you guys are kind of like, what do you mean it's not a jellyfish? I'm like, it's ice cream. So the whole time we're sitting here trying to dissect fucking ice cream, thinking it's a fucking jellyfish.
Maybe I wasn't there for that.
No, you were there. Trust me.
It's possible.
Yeah,
I was drinking heavy.
That was when we got the matching shirts made up.
Okay.
It was that fucking weekend. I remember that. And like
that weekend was bad. That was 2008. That's when
yeah. Dude,
that was the year we went July 08. We went down there for 4th of July.
I remember
these fuckers left me. They ditched me at the bar. So I ended up, guys' weekend, we're going out partying, having a good time.
Yeah.
These motherfuckers ditched me. I'm sitting at the bar drinking by myself. And then they went one way, I went the other, and
yeah. And the whole thing is I remember hearing the fireworks. I never saw the fireworks, but I remember hearing them.
We watched them on the boardwalk. I was because that was when I had the whole bar. So we the beginning of the night, we stopped in one of these bars. We've been drinking all day. And we're going to one of these bars, we eat. And I didn't realize it was like they only had one bathroom in this bar. And we ate Mexican or something like that. So I get the bubble guts. I'm blowing this bathroom up. And people were pissed because it was the whole bar ended up stinking. And there was a whole line of people waiting to get in there because it was this one little bar. And the boardwalk's packed and crowd, or one little bathroom in this whole bar. So, nobody thinks, oh, let's go to the next spot over, the hotel right next door. We all need to use this bathroom right now. I'm in there just stinking the son bitch up, and I open the door, and there's like 13 people right there.
Oh, going, dude, you come on! Why do you gotta
do that here? You could have went to many other places. You gotta do that here. It happens, dude. You gotta go to the bathroom. You gotta go to the bathroom.
Well, you gotta go. And one story it stands out in my mind, and if you're fine with talking about it, the incident with the Camaro. Leave that one alone. Leave that one alone. All right. Well, I'll do part one of it, which isn't bad. And
I wasn't there for the hooker on the bus. I don't think so.
No, you were Bobby. We were on the short bus.
Oh, it's the chick from Jersey when we got thrown out.
Yeah. When we got thrown out, Bobby picked up some chick with a busted face and took her on the bus.
Yeah.
And she was on the bus, and we're sitting there, and we didn't know she was there. And we sit there, and eventually right, who the fuck is that?
Yeah, that was.
And I'm like,
that was the weird chick from Jersey. Actually, I'm gonna go piss real quick.
All right. And so anyways, he's like, who the fuck is this? So we literally drove. We drove from Journeys to like God knows where, and we looked, and we're like, look, we don't know who you are. You gotta go. Like, you gotta get out of here. So we just threw the chick off in like the random fucking spot. Like, it was insane. Like, we were like, and I don't know how the fuck she ended up getting there. But anyways, part one of the Camaro thing is my first car was an 88 Camaro, bought an 88 Camaro outright. And I had a bunch of work done to it. And, one of the times we were sitting there, and I'm in the Camaro, and we pull up next to these chicks in a Mustang. And they start revving their engines. I start revving my engine. They rev theirs. I rev mine. They rev theirs. I rev mine. And, as soon as they go and I go to go, my muffler falls off in the car. And Chris just looks at me like, is this real fucking life right now? Like, your muffler just fell off of the fucking car while we're fucking trying to go.
Oh, is that Virginia?
No, when I first bought the Camaro.
Oh, yeah.
The chicks were next to us revving, and we get ready to go, and the muffler just falls off, and you just sit there, you're just kind of like, I don't, like, I'm sorry. And we have probably roughly about 15 minutes left. Obviously, we're going to do a part two of this sometime in the future, because dude, we have so many stories.
Fucking 1989 Camaro busted off. Right, had the fucking long bleached blonde hair, looking like a fucking 1980s weirdo.
No, my hair was cut by then.
No, when you first bought the fucking Camaro, because you were working at that one place.
Was that the Halloween store or whatever?
It may have been, but you.
the Halloween store in Annapolis. That made sense. I went all the way to Annapolis.
Yeah, your
to
dad
work
was
at the
pissed about
Halloween.
that. Well, you bought the fuck that 1989 Camaro ticket. He's hot shit. Spent way too much money for it. Oh my god. Yeah, fucking.
And like so there was that. And then like we have about 15 minutes left. Of course, Chris is going to be back sometime in the future. He may help me co-host certain times because the rest of these other fucks can't show up. But also we have so many stories. Like, dude, we haven't even broke the ice.
Yeah,
like, you know, and Tom Nutty's enjoying this. He's like, I love the slow build to your stories. And it's like, because we're telling real stories. Like that's just the whole thing. And you know, what should we leave them with? Like,
Tom, just so you know, that's not what he was talking about. There's some other shit that happened going on. We did go for some adventures in the Camaro because I had a decent car at the time, but Ray thought it was cool to drive the Camaro.
Well, it was funny
some weird shit happened.
You taught me how to drive. My dad was afraid to ride with me, and you taught me how to drive. I got my license.
I taught my sister how to drive, and to this day, she swears the only thing I taught her how to do was flip people off and cuss at them in traffic.
Yeah. And speaking, actually, we'll go back to the bus and the scavenger hunt. And Blood brought that up. Our scavenger hunt. One of the things on the scavenger hunt I remember was puke and re-drink it. And
I didn't do that shit.
Kevin Easy. The reason why that was on there is because we were at the bar one night and Kevin Easy puked in a cup and then fucking drank it, chugged it down. So go figure, he's the one who did it. Mind you, this is also the same guy who we went to Dreamers, and mind you, we could do a whole episode on just Dreamers alone. We went to Dreamers, which is a local strip club here in Baltimore County, which is now closed. It was heartbreaking to me when I found out that it was closed. But the whole thing is we go to Dreamers, and Kevin Easy ends up with a dress from a stripper.
Yeah.
The stripper gave him her dress. So what do you do with the dress?
Wear it.
You're going to wear it. So he wears it the whole night. He goes to your house. He's wearing the dress at your fucking house because when the bar closed, we went to your house and kept drinking till about like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. So he's wearing the dress. He ended up getting pink eye from the fucking dress. So
yeah, he got the dress. Justin got one of her shoes. Somebody else got something else. It was somebody. It was oh no, because we were so Ray was seeing a young lady that danced there, but she was also seeing like 6 other people. That because that was the night she got mad and didn't come back.
She
was I can't tell this. I don't know if I can tell that one. It's a little gross.
We already opened Pandora's box.
She was dancing, and it was that time of the month for her, and her string was hanging down.
Bobby noticed it.
No, Justin noticed it and asked if he pulled the fucking thing if confetti popped out. If he pulled the string from her period, if fucking confetti popped out, she was mad as shit.
That is almost as bad as when Bobby was bouncing quarters towards the strippers.
That was at
Christina's.
I want to put
it in the coin slot.
That was at Christina's. So, he was bouncing quarters into her boot. Her and my brother. That was when they got kicked out. I think it was the same night where they got kicked out. They had to leave the property. My brother tried to tell the guy look, I can't drive. I'm gonna leave my truck here. We'll come back and get tomorrow. The guy said, you leave your truck, I'm towing it. So they pull around the corner and they call for somebody to come pick them up. I mean, I'm sure they pulled across the street. And they call for somebody to come pick them up, and the police show up, and it was a short officer, and he's talking to my brother, and my buddy Bobby's yelling something at the cop, and the cop goes over to his side of the truck, and I guess he wasn't tall enough to see in the window, so he's standing on the side rail, holding on to the door, and my buddy Bobby looks down at the cop and goes, "Don't get short with me, Frodo."
And mind you, we're sitting there watching from afar, and we're like, they're going to jail.
I'm like,
they're going to jail. Yeah.
I'm staying the fuck out of it. When police showed up, I was out. I was gone.
I think by far.
I don't look. Respect the blue. You guys got a hard job, so I don't fuck with y'all. Y'all don't fuck with me. We have a great day.
There's a couple of stories I'm going to try to blow through real quick that reminds me of Dreamers, and 2 of them that stand in my mind the most. One of them, and I know for a fact you were there for that, is when the random tattoo artist showed up.
Yeah.
at Dreamers.
I paid for half the tattoo. Of course,
Kevin was like, "Oh, I'll get a tattoo." Mind you, the guy shows up, and he just has all this random gear, and he's like, "I do tattoos," and we're like, "Oh, do you?" And Kevin's like, "I want a tattoo." And I remember you and Bobby. I think all of us collectively were like, "We'll pay for it."
We pay for it. We pick it.
Yeah, and so you guys are just sitting there giggling in the corner or whatever and all that. And so the guy's like, "Well, I'll give you your tattoo. I'll go out and get my gear." Meanwhile, Dreamers knew nothing about it.
Nope.
So the guy wheels in like a toolbox full of fucking stuff.
Tattoo gun, ink, he's just like, more shit.
He's like, yeah. He's like, "You ready to get your tattoo?" Kevin's like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right, well, what I want you to do is I need you to get on this pool table." So Kevin sits on the pool table. He's like, "I need you to flip over." So Kevin flips over. He's like, "I need you to take your pants off." So Kevin takes his pants
face down, ass out.
Face down, ass up. So we're sitting there, and he starts tattooing on Kevin's ass. And you and Bobby are laughing the whole time. And the rest of us are just sitting there watching as it happens. And you see the outline go by. And after a while, I'm sitting there. I'm looking at Kevin's ass. I'm looking at Bobby. I'm looking at Kevin's ass. I'm looking at Bobby. I'm looking at Kevin. I'm like, Bobby's on his ass. So pretty much what it was is Bobby paid like a good portion because Bobby had like that military money that like he fucking blew every night we went out. So Bobby was like, "I want my face on his ass."
And Kevin, at the time it happened, Kevin had no idea what he was getting. Like Bobby went to the tattoo guy, told the tattoo guy what he wanted done. Bobby paid for 2/3 of the tattoo. I think I covered the rest. And then we had to buy the guy a couple of drinks. And in the middle, of a packed bar on the back of a pool table in the back corner, where these guys doing tattoos on asses. And
we used to call Bobby King Dingaling for reasons we're not going to explain because we don't want to put him out there.
He got a tattoo on the head, a tattoo of a crown on the head of his dick.
But anyways,
he shows it to everybody. He's probably on Facebook.
So we got a picture of Bobby tattooed on his ass with Bobby wearing the crown. Mind you, later on in time,
just Kevin got a tattoo, John. At Dreamers, just Kevin.
And that's the thing is that he got that tattoo of Bobby on his ass. Later on in life, he got tattoo of dice on his balls. And
he tattooed them on himself.
But also keep in mind, he ended up doing some prison time. So imagine going to prison with dice on your balls. And another dude's face on your ass. I remember we concocted the idea of doing Mount Assmore on his ass. It was going to be all of our faces on his ass, but it ended up never happening. And there was a time we left Dreamers, and I don't think you were with us. It was me, the guy who has the same name as me, who I'm not going to mention, and the guy
that crashed my wedding and hasn't spoken to me since.
Yeah. And so we went to Dreamers, and they had Jello wrestling, and Bobby jumped into Jello, so he's completely covered from head to toe in pink Jello. And so we're like, all right, well, let's go to Denny's. Of course, Dundalk Denny's, I could walk in there today. They'd be like, "Dude, you got to go." And
get the fuck out.
Yeah. So we go to Denny's and Bobby's completely covered in Jello. So we're sitting there and we're throwing like sugar packets at Bobby and they're like sticking to him. They're like fucking getting stuck. And so the waitress comes up. She's like, "Oh my God, honey, what happened to you?" And he's like, "We had a baking accident." And so, she's sitting there. She's like blown away. She's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, cake exploded and it got all over me." And she's like, "Oh, okay. Can I get you anything?" He's like, "Yeah, I'd like an order of pancakes." So he gets the pancakes and I sit there and I watch him. He takes the spout and he pours the fucking like pancake syrup, the whole entire thing onto the pancakes. Like there's nothing, you don't want to eat these pancakes, how much syrup he's dumped onto these fucking pancakes.
It's a lot of fucking syrup.
And I sit there and the thing empties.
Takes a long time to tell a short story.
Yeah.
I guess when you have to fill an hour and a half.
There's a build. Shut your mouth. There's a build. So
Mr. Host here knows what he's talking about.
So he empties the whole thing. And then I sit there and I look at Bobby. He looks at me, brings his hand up as high as he can, and he smacks the pancakes. And they explode all over the fucking place. So the waitress comes over. She's like, "Oh my God, what the hell happened?" He's like, "My pancakes exploded. Can you bring me more pancakes?" So she brings him more fucking pancakes. This time, though, they're watching. And they watch him take another thing of fucking syrup, pour it onto the fucking pancakes, brings his hand up. As he's bringing it down, they're saying no. He hits the pancakes, they explode again. We're asked to leave. So then all of us covered in pancake, him covered in fucking jello, then go to Broadway Diner in Dundalk and eat like that there because we were asked to leave fucking Denny's. So I don't know how many times we went to Denny's and ordered food and actually never got to eat it because we were asked to leave.
It's because y'all do dumb, like, again, like I would just drink, and I was there for a lot of the dumb shit. And I would watch them do it.
See, some of the dumb shit that you did know, we can't mention.
I was a drinker and a watcher. You know, I didn't know. I would drink, but y'all. I would talk them into a lot of the dumb shit.
We can't.
But I
mention,
never actually did it.
We cannot mention the grocery store firewood incident. That's just something that cannot.
Hey, it was. I found that.
Yeah, you found it.
You
found it with no clothes on. Outside of a grocery store.
And again, something you're not supposed to be. Oh yeah, don't talk about that. You know, yeah, bring that up.
Hey,
naked running around Dundalk.
But no, anyways, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. Chris, I appreciate you coming on. Of course, next week we're gonna be back right here on the Happy Hour podcast. We're gonna be live with Devin DeVasquez. She was a Playboy centerfold in June of 1985. She was one of the cover girls, and she's an author. Actress, done all kinds of different things. We'll be back with her live next week. It will be next Friday. We will be live with her. And of course, Chris will be back soon because, as I said, we haven't even broken ice. Me and him have been friends for 20 years from the ages of like 12 to like 27. We have had so many different memories that we haven't even gotten into.
I stopped around 25.
Yeah. So be sure to listen out for that. Once again, thank you for tuning into the Happy Hour podcast. For those of you on Facebook Live, we will be back live next week. For those of you listening at home on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and wherever else you find your podcast, make sure you tune in next week. Go to the hhpod.com to find all of our content. Please buy our shirts, buy our merchandise, subscribe to Patreon. It's only $3 a month and you get exclusive access to whatever the fuck we want to put on. And also our vintage fully fermented episodes, they're now exclusive to Patreon only. So once again, thank you for tuning in. We will see you guys.
And look,
next week.
know I'm on this worldwide Facebook show. Don't bother me in public, motherfuckers. I won't sign autographs. None of that shit. All right. You see me, keep fucking walking.
Yeah, you see an ugly man, just keep moving.